welcome back to the big room. And welcome back to the big room.
Thank you. Did you guys miss me so much?
Yeah,
We did.
We didn't say a
so sad.
single intelligent thing last week because you weren't here to talk smart.
I did enjoy the little bit I had with Phoebe, though, in your absence.
Yeah, she sat on your lap.
She was pretty cute. She kept just looking up at me while I was talking. It was great.
Oh, Nick missed me so much that he decided to wear a matching outfit as me.
Yeah, they're wearing, for those listening, all of us are wearing black tops because we're so
That's
individualistic.
what we do.
But they're both in freaking
Olive
army
pants.
green pants.
Yeah.
Which,
Oh.
yeah.
I walked
Kim
in and we did
Possible
the
cosplay.
Spider-Man meme.
Yeah, they
Just,
did the Spider-Man thing. And I went, what? We all wear black always. And then I noticed
Pants.
pants.
We also all wear pants.
We do wear pants every episode.
Sometimes,
Carl,
sometimes I wear
didn't
dresses.
last episode.
you weren't in pants
Wow.
last episode. That's
Yeah.
right. 'Cause
What was
you-
he in shorts? Nothing.
No.
He had boxers on.
Oh,
He's a
wow.
boy.
Brain, brain.
It's a
Wow.
poison. Yeah, you're right.
I wasn't here, and y'all aren't wearing pants.
Yeah.
Craziness.
I had a disappointing dinner tonight.
Yeah,
You it's a choir night for you, so you like bring home
I
food.
do. I have to bring home food and furiously eat, and then leave again.
And last night when I was enjoying myself, I had a Wendy's craving
Yeah, at like
at 12:35
12:35.
I was
He's
like,
I
Wendy's.
want Wendy's.
I want a baconator.
Yeah.
So she got me a baconator tonight, except it didn't have bacon on it. So I just had an
That's-
Ader.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just had an Ader,
Ate an
man.
Ader?
Yeah, I had an Ader. I was pissed off
Ader.
about it. Not like so pissed off that I would do anything about it, but I got
It's
halfway
like,
through and I was
aw.
like, you know what? This is missing is the showstopper,
The bacon.
the bloody point.
The main event.
I'm not going to complain, but I will talk about it online.
Yeah, right.
You know what this is missing? The namesake.
Yeah, stupid. Whatever. We watched a movie. Wow.
Wow.
It's like the 93rd time or 4th time we've done that.
I think it's
Wow.
I don't know, third.
Maybe 95th?
Well, there's an episode 0's thing
Right.
that nobody
And then-
should listen to.
And then we got a lost episode, so.
do have a lost episode.
God, yeah.
So whatever, who cares? We watched. It's really been the month of Carl, kind of. Sword month is the month of Carl as well. Sword month of 6 weeks, but we're 2 bangers from Carl in a row. So last week Over the Garden Wall was his suggestion, and this week, I mean, he's been hammering on about wanting to watch a Wes Anderson, and then like weirdly backing out of it for about 2 years. You're like, we should watch a Wes Anderson. I don't know.
My fear is that you guys are all going to gang up on me and like just let me have it. So, and I didn't think I was going to be able to defend myself. So
Well-
I'm hoping that maybe with some of these other movies as kind of a precursor, you might now have an appreciation for these movies and be on my side.
I can tell you
So,
that you
we'll
and I
see.
will agree, at least, as we
Yeah.
often do. So
Yeah.
we
I
did
knew I could
watch a
count on
Wes
you.
Anderson. It's my second
Oh.
Wes Anderson. It's also your second
Yes,
Wes Anderson.
technically.
My first.
Your first Wes Anderson. And Carl's probably seen at least 2.
I've seen a good amount, yeah. I'm a little behind.
So we watched the Grand Budapest Hotel. Okay, let's start this way. Why'd you pick this one of all the Wes Andersons for us to watch?
Well, so I was trying to narrow it down. One, we wanted Fall, so I knew Life Aquatic probably wasn't the right one. And then looking at like going back with Over the Garden Wall, he does a lot of wax poetic, and that happens in this movie too.
So much wax poetic.
And then even going further back with Devil Wears Prada, there's kind of a master apprentice situation, like a bestowing of knowledge. That's echoed in this. Knives Out, there's a murder and an author. That's in this too. So it just felt kind of
Thematic.
like the right, yeah,
Okay.
a little bit of a parallel.
So this movie was released on March 7th, 2014 in the US. It had 2 prior releases, I think in France and then in Europe as a whole, or maybe the UK, I don't know. So America's the only thing that matters. So March 7th, 2014, over 10 years ago, had a $25 million budget, which is none.
Yeah. That's cheap.
And it was, I read on wikipedia.com, a surprising, if not shockingly good box office of
Ooh.
174.6
Wow.
million. It apparently had a very good opening like day or weekend. Then it plateaued, but then it closed really well. So I assume
That
like,
word of
word of
mouth.
mouth was quite good for
Oh,
it.
yeah.
This was 2 films after Fantastic Mr. Fox for Wes Anderson, which is the movie that I've seen, which is entirely in stop motion. A lot of stop motion in this, a lot of matte painting in this, and a lot of miniature scale in this. Like the forest was 1/18 scale during the ski slope scene. So a lot of like old school film techniques, which is just the business. And Nick's probably like, I hate that I know that this train is fake, but I love it. I love that kind of stuff.
The only thing that kind of processed as miniature to me was the hotel.
Yeah.
The other stuff, I think they got away with it.
I think a lot of the stuff.
They got away with it.
A lot of this whole movie is a movie where you're aware you're watching a movie. That's going to seem like a harebrained ass statement, but I'll kind of get to that at the end. I will explain myself at the end. So, big ol' cast. Would you call it an ensemble, Carl?
I mean, I would, but I've been wrong before.
I don't know what the hell an ensemble.
Because we really only follow. I mean, I guess we kind of follow 3 people with the way they kind of nest the story introduction.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, but the side characters still get a lot of screen time.
Yeah.
But we're
By
only
themselves.
following like one real story. It's just
Right.
being told by different voices. So I don't know if I would call it ensemble.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know either. I don't think I would.
Who cares?
Our listeners.
No, they don't.
They're here to hear our opinions.
This movie won 2 major awards. I think it won 4, but I can
It's a
only find
major
these 2.
award.
So I won it. It won the Golden Globe for Best Motion Picture - Musical or Comedy, and BAFTA for Best Original Screenplay.
Oh, nice.
So it seemed like a very quite one of maybe the hallmark successful films for Mr. Anderson, but I don't know. I'm not familiar enough with his work.
I feel like that's what people say. It's like his most well received and kind of he's really come into his own. And it's like the most accessible.
Okay.
Like accessible.
Riddle me this. Okay, accessible. I was going to say that.
Yeah.
Is it the most palatable Wes Anderson movie?
Yes.
Is that why you picked
That's
it?
kind of why I arrived at it too, because I was like, Life Aquatic is a little bit more absurd. Royal Tenenbaums is, it's Wes Anderson also kind of gets this rap of being pretentious.
Okay, I can kind of see that.
It being kind of style over substance, which
Yeah.
I don't necessarily agree with, but I do just like
Art
how you
for
kind of
art's
alluded
sake,
to, like
if you
yeah,
will.
like you can see the artifice of that you're watching a movie, like you said earlier.
Yeah.
Like he goes out of his way to make it so you know you're watching a movie.
Yeah.
Like they're kind of escapist in some way,
Ooh,
despite kind of being a parallel to a real event. In this one,
Escapist is interesting. Hang on to that for the end because I kind of got the opposite take.
interesting.
Or got a different feeling. I've seen 2 of these movies now, and I get a very visceral feeling, but I'll get to that later. So, the cast is insane. A lot of frequent collaborators. All 3 Owen brothers are frequent collaborators with Wes Anderson. Bill Murray's in there a lot. There was one actor who I was like, oh, I know that guy.
Jason Schwartzman.
It wasn't. No, it was.
Edward Norton?
It wasn't Edward Norton.
it was
Shoot,
the
River.
villain,
It's the main villain guy.
the brother, son.
Oh, Adrian Brody.
Yes. I recognized his face. So early on in the film, we have the scene where Jeff Goldblum is reading the will. Everybody's gathered for the last will and testament. And Zero and Gustav are arriving in the back door, and they kind of do that pan shot over the crowd. And I picked that guy's face out, and I went, what do I know him from? And then I looked at his filmography, and I hadn't seen a damn thing. So I have no idea why I've recognized
He does
him.
have like a very distinct face, though.
Yeah, and Willem Dafoe obviously stood out a lot, and he's like doing that lower jaw thing where he's got like cat
Did he
teeth
have like
almost.
bulldog teeth or
Something,
something? Yeah, it
yeah.
seemed like they were protruding. Like, yeah.
It's like
was going on
Godfather
there.
with the Marlon Brando's like jaw piece, you know? Like it's cool. A lot of characters. We were kind of talking. I was lamenting pre-show. I said I could have watched this movie half a dozen times and still not feel prepared to record this because there's so many freaking characters. All the names are kind of Eastern European or Europeanish, kind of
a little unfamiliar.
unfamiliar is a good term for it, and it's got
It's a
an
safe word
interesting
for it.
pace. This movie. It's
Everything is said very quickly.
well, and there's not
Yeah.
there's not really throwaway dialogue. Even the dialogue that you think would be throwaway is quite interesting. I have a line I wrote down at one point, and it's Gustav and Zero. This is like second or third act. It's towards the end of the movie. They're sitting on the hay bales while the Society of the Cross Keys is calling. It's I think before or after that montage scene where they're calling one another, which I want to come back to later. And they're recounting the pieces of the mystery, as it were, that they have together. Like, oh, there's this person, and the painting is stolen by us. But it's that scene. And then at the end of it, Gustav says, they're waiting for Bill Murray to drive up. And Gustav says, the plot thickens, as they say. Why, by the way? Is it a soup metaphor?
I wrote that down
And
too.
like those little, I missed that the first time. I was rewatching scenes today, and I went, "That's really funny." And that's what would be a throwaway line, but if you stop and listen, it's brilliantly hilarious. It's so funny. It's full of things like that. I have a lot of quotes written down, and it's normally I will write like a line. And for this one, I found myself having to pull the movie up and scrub back and write down the lines that happened before and after, both for context sake and because the whole scene was hilarious or profound, or they wax poetic, like you said earlier. They go on and on and on. There's the line, the from Z to A line, where Zero is reading or Agatha is reading the letter that Zero spoils, and he gives her the book and tells her exactly what it is. And I guess I've spoiled the surprise. You can open it, and the letter is, "For my dearest, darling, treasured, cherished Agatha, whom I worship. With respect, adoration, admiration, kisses, gratitude, best wishes, and love from Z to A."
Oh,
Which is great because it's like from A to Z, but backwards because there's zero.
There's Zero and Agatha. Oh, love.
But it's so ridiculous. There's another line when they get on the train. I'm kind of getting ahead of the plot, but I don't know if we need to go chronologically. We never really do. There's a part. Let me see. Yes. It's when they're on the train, and Gustav is complaining to Zero about Serge. He says, "I'm not angry with Serge. You can't blame someone for their basic lack of moral fiber. He's a frightened little yellow-bellied coward. It's not his fault, is it?" And Zero says, "Well, it depends." And then Gustav goes, "Well, you can say that about anything. It depends. Of course it depends. Of course it depends. Of course it depends. Yes, I suppose you're right. Of course it depends. However, that doesn't mean I'm not going to throttle the little swamp rat. They're just, of course it depends. Of course it depends. Of course it
it's
depends."
like a who's on first.
So quick back and forth.
It is, and it's funny. They do it so straight.
Yeah.
It's a quite serious deal, and
It's like circular dialogue like they do in a Big Lebowski.
yeah,
Where they're kind of saying something, but nothing is really being said, and they're not even really listening to each other. They're just kind of like saying things back and forth, just echoing each other.
I love that every time he would cut to do like a poem or a quote or something, they would cut it short. Like the poems that he's reciting almost
because it's like 46 stanzas or whatever, and I like that the staff gets to eat really quickly as soon as he starts because they're like, "We'll be here forever."
Yeah.
The staff relationship in the hotels, and this goes beyond the Grand Budapest. It extends to the other hotels, which is where we kind of
Secret
learn
society.
the Society of the Crossed Keys, or of Crossed Keys.
Such a good name.
It's such an interesting hierarchy because we're kind of focused in this movie. It's a lot of Gustav, and they say early on in the recounting that he's not the owner,
Right.
but you wouldn't think that. If that just wasn't in there, you'd go, "This guy's the owner," but what, he's the concierge or whatever, right? So
Yeah.
and it's interesting. I liked the montage of the Crossed Keys because it's the scene in the movie that kind of keys you in that that it's not just that way here. There's that whole society, which is
Yeah.
They all
of
have
course
their
there's
loyal
There's a
lobby boy.
culture. Yeah.
and it's very cool because they do that handoff scene. I'm trying to find it in my notes. They do the handoff where they're passing the information to one another throughout the chain of hotels that Gustav, about his plight, basically, that he needs help. And it's a very funny montage of like the one guy's singing "Happy Birthday," and then he's like, "Take over," and then the I assume it's
The dead guy.
what is Zero's title?
Lobby boy.
Lobby boy.
Yeah.
You kind of assume that it's lobby boys the whole time, and the dude fighting the fire, higher, take over. Then the kid, higher, and the
Too
was
much
it the
salt,
CPR on the dead tennis guy that looked a little too much like John Cleese. Too much salt, not enough pepper. Take over. Too much salt, and then all for that to just get a train. And then it goes further because Gustav and Zero, they're in Bill Murray's car. And Gustav goes, "Oh, third class," when he's presented with the tickets. And Ivan, who's played by Bill Murray, says, "Oh, it was overbooked. But the conductor used to be a sommelier at the old Versailles. He pulled some strings." So it's even former
Oh, I missed
hotel
that.
people. It's like this weird web of...
Yeah.
you know, it's what like
It's like Hospitality Fight Club. It's
I'm not, I'm not naming
Fight
the,
Club.
I'm not naming the episode. No one
I
will
had a
click on
question
it.
for Danielle. Because what you're talking about doing that whole like the concierge scene, like there's a lot of stage motifs that happen in this movie. Like they had a spotlight on
I
them.
pointed that out to
All
her
of the
the second
sets
or
are
third time.
very like flat on, like a stage would be done. Were you able to enjoy this movie because of things like that, or did you hate it because I picked it, or what?
Wow. Did I
You are
hate
kind of over for picking
that answer is
with her.
yes, I hate it. No, I didn't. No, I really liked it. I thought, I mean, it was
Nice.
very whimsical. It was very
Whimsical's a really good word.
pretty to look
Yeah.
at. I thought the story
Yeah,
was
definitely.
interesting. I didn't really. I mean, I was slightly distracted while I was watching this because my friend was texting me about the Wicked movie, which is kind of going to
We'll
overshadow.
talk about that at the end.
That's going to overshadow my feelings about anything else right now.
You got to see it early, humble brag.
A humble brag. So I didn't really pick up on those theater motifs. I wish I had. Now, like once you said that, I'm like, oh yeah. So I wish I did. Like I wish I would have noticed that, but I don't know if that would have made a difference in my enjoyment. Like I found the story intriguing, pretty to look at. I want to, like Cameron said, I feel like I need to watch it like
100 more
four
times,
more
yeah,
times.
for
Oh
sure.
yeah.
I was
There was so
reading
much.
a bit on the wiki. There are paragraphs about the filming and production of this movie, and I skimmed them because I'm like, there's no way I'll be able to retain any of this, so why bother? But one of the things I noticed was his very flat scenes that that Carl mentioned. It's a lot of what they had a name for it, but it's basically like you're filming a scene as if it's two-dimensional. But what Wes Anderson does, that at least was attributed to him, and film nerds, please don't eat me, was that his particular use of camera movement within those 2D scenes is what makes it his hallmark. Those quick pans up and pans to the side, and those very quick zooms into someone's face, and that kind of thing. And,
When Zero's knocking on the giant door,
right.
and then it pans over to the tiny little door.
And it's interesting because there's a lot of those matte paintings and miniatures where like they're running along that like ski slope tower to get on the cable cars, and it looks really tiny, but they're like on, and I'm like, is that a painting? Is that a set? Like I don't know, but it
There's
looks
some too that
fake
even
and-
feel like tilt shift photography.
yeah, and for
Like,
another thing, every vehicle or moving thing appeared to be stop motion. I don't know if it was. Like I know that the skiing scene had to be. But even the cars, even the way the car, they could have been full-sized cars for all I know, but they looked like they were filmed in stop motion, like going around corners so quickly. And the sense of speed that they had very much read as stop motion sped
Yeah.
up quickly.
Yeah.
And he's done stop motion before. He has at least 2 animated films that are animated, quote unquote, films, Fantastic Mr. Fox being one, that are 100% stop motion. That
Isle of
movie's
Dogs.
weird as hell, by the way. Fantastic Mr. Fox. That's a weird movie.
What the cuss?
What the cuss? Yeah.
I think part of what set me up for liking this movie more than others was that I both knew to I both had expectations and didn't have any. So I knew to expect like a kooky, weird ride. I knew it was going to be very stylized, but I didn't have any like, oh, this movie is so good. Like I didn't know really what to expect as far as the story or where it was going to take me, but I just knew it was
Yeah.
going to be crazy. So I was just kind of like, all right, like I'm excited for this for this
I am
journey.
bummed they overhyped Over the Garden Wall for you. That's no good.
I enjoyed Over the Garden Wall. I don't know, like I'm not.
Well, you gave it a mid.
super... Did I?
You gave it a mid.
I might have been grumpy that night.
She's rescinding the mid. Mid plus.
Mid plus. I don't know. I'm also not super big on cartoons.
That's what I mentioned.
So-
I tried not to throw you under the bus.
Yeah, I don't because I enjoyed it. It made me laugh. Like it was way more like deep than I thought it would be.
Oh goodness, it really is.
But I don't see myself going back like, ooh, I have to watch this every year and all the time.
Oh, really? Because
Yeah.
I'm like, I'd make a pot of chili and
I mean, if you
Watch
put
that.
it on and you were like, let's watch this together, I would, but I wouldn't initiate
I'm making a pot
that.
of chili tomorrow night.
Oof.
Ayy.
Yeah, I was immediately like, I know what I'm doing every Halloween for the rest of my life.
Really?
Halloween.
I haven't listened to the episode.
We'll all wear
I want to.
pumpkins. I got through 27 minutes of the episode, and then I realized the power supply in my computer was going to burn my house down. So, hey, shout out to figuring that out. It's the only reason
Good
we're
job.
recording right now. I did a power supply swap on the computer 2 hours ago. and
Nice.
everything works. Thank God.
Anyways.
Computers, man. I digress. We all digress. It's an interesting one, this, because it's a mystery movie, but it couldn't. Is it?
It's not a normal
rude
mystery
to
movie.
say that the mystery plot is backseat?
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Backseat to what?
All right.
Zero.
Just the Wes Anderson-ness of it?
The style of the movie. You know what?
Yeah,
Let's just do this now so we can talk about it. I'm going to go to my notes at the end of the movie. I wrote this down.
We don't need to go through the whole plot. It'd be too much.
Well, I just want to. We never do. We used to earlier, and that's why early episodes are dog shit. I wrote this down and then refined it, and I might read it word for word. It's a bit lengthy, but I wrote down that the two Wes Anderson films that I've seen have both made me feel the same way. I'm not immersed or sucked into the story, i.e., like feeling like I'm a part of the plot. Like when you settle in to a Lord of the Rings. You know what I mean? You put a movie on, and the first like 10, 15 minutes, you're getting used to the vibe, and then you kind of like shift into your couch or your movie seat, like at the theater, and you are absorbed into the movie, right? You're immersed to a degree. I don't feel that way. I wrote down, these are two quote unquote artsy, but not as, I don't mean that in a negative way. With the exaggerated camera movements in what are two-dimensional scenes, the stop-motion transport that I mentioned earlier, the use of color as a narrative tool, pinker and brighter colors for scenes set early chronologically in the plot, with a flatter color palette, and even black and white involving scenes of war or fascistic settings. It's all too interesting to me to be absorbed into, which is kind of weird. And so
you're more of a spectator than
right. So I
Yeah.
said I find myself consciously looking at the movie rather than being absorbed into it, but not distractingly so as to ignore or miss the plot. It's a movie I could see hanging on a museum wall rather than playing in a theater, if that makes sense. And that's not derogatory. I don't. That's why I put artsy in quotes. I don't want to be like, it's a movie for art's sake, like we said earlier.
Right, yeah.
But there's one movie that I felt similarly to this, maybe not one, because you kind of gave me a little bit of shit for it, because I guess I've said this before. As far as movies that, like, there was one point where I was sitting on the ottoman during this movie. There was one point where I was, like, on the floor for this movie, just, like, trying to get closer. You know what I mean? Like, I was, like, moving around the room, like I was trying to look at a painting from different angles, almost.
Yeah.
The other movie
see if
that...
its eyes follow you.
Right. The other movie I did that with, Citizen Kane.
Really?
That's the other movie where, but Citizen Kane, I'll asterisk that because I knew going into it that like, oh, we're inventing camera angles and we're inventing modern cinema here. So yeah, you don't like Citizen Kane, but
I always got to make a face. I'm sorry.
yeah, I mean, it's not the,
I'm not
it's not
sorry.
the most riveting plot.
No.
Like Citizen Kane versus Casablanca plot-wise, I'm taking Casablanca 100% of the time. I think Casablanca as a story is a better movie, but I think Citizen Kane is more important, and I knew the import going into it, so or the importance going into it. So that kind of, I guess, tinted my vision of that movie and made me go like, "Ew, very interesting. This camera angle," and pretending I knew what Dutch angle meant. What a cock! But this movie, I'm just like, it's just so weird, and they do things in the film, like for example, like what you mentioned with the Grand Budapest Hotel as a hotel. One of the first shots you're looking at it and you're going, that's a miniature.
Yeah.
And they're not necessarily trying to hide that. They're almost flexing that it's a miniature. And they're flexing that they're using stop motion for this, which I like. I mentioned that in a different movie, I don't remember what, where like kind of the early shittiness of it, and this is a little bit different, but like when R2's third leg comes down, for example, and that chop happens. I like it when you can see a little
Alien,
bit.
the head.
Yeah, the head of
Oh yeah,
Bilbo.
Ash?
Ash?
Ash. Yeah, Ash's head on the ground when they did that cut, and it was clearly like him with his head through the floor. I like that kind of stuff, but this, it was done like they didn't try to hide it. And
Well, that's not like making, it
is
lack
different.
of special
it's not the
effects.
same.
It's, a stylistic choice, I think.
Or almost like, yeah, I guess.
It gives it a storybook quality,
Yeah.
which makes it, because
Ooh,
we
I
are
like
getting
that.
this story, right? So we're getting kind of a dramatized and stylized version of events that actually happened. So we're getting that kind of glossiness.
That's what I liked a lot. There was, you got the sense that you weren't seeing things like as they actually happened, but like as they're being remembered.
All right, let's talk about that.
Ooh.
The entire movie, I never lost focus that old Zero was sitting in that room with the author telling the story. Like, I never forgot he was there. I never got into the story that much. Like, it was, like you said, you're observing.
You know where that's most evident to me? I actually had to Google it in the middle of the movie. And I read a comment on a Reddit post from user Kov.
Wow.
That's you.
Shout
Thanks,
out.
bro. I'm going to paraphrase him. And it was about the Mexico birthmark on Agatha's face. Right? So, Kov posed that as an inaccurate feature from an unreliable narrator. All right? Nobody has a geographically correct birthmark in the shape of Mexico on their face. But that's how Gustav describes it to Zero, who in his old age conveys it as such to Tom Wilkinson as Jude Law, though, the young author.
Right.
At dinner, who is in turn telling us that story as the author in his old age, having written it as the book and regaling it to us in movie form. So it's a story of a story of a story.
Yeah.
So it's the little details like that.
Yeah, it's like a game of telephone.
It's like a game of telephone. And it makes it to where maybe nothing happened the way that it was portrayed. Which is interesting narratively. It's an unreliable narrator, and I kind of like it.
I do like that. The part where it was very evident to me was on the sled. Because it felt so
Cartoonish.
cartoon.
Because they went from doing the jumps to doing the poles to doing a bobsled to doing a
To pushing Willem Dafoe, and he comically falls like, ah!
yeah.
That's
my favorite part when he's like sitting up there in wax poeticing about. He's like, I think I wrote it down. It was. He breathed me last. Holy shit, you got him! Because he pushed him off the
Such a change.
There's a few moments like that are my favorite for Gustav because at the end of the movie he talks about he tried to sustain the illusion with a marvelous grace, of like this time past. And he like does a very good job of like maintaining that, but there's a few times where he the crack starts to appear, like
Right.
when he's talking to what's her name, and she's like, "Come with me," and he's like, "To fucking Lutz." All that stuff before that of him being like everything was set up like clockwork, and he has this like perfect like choreographed like setup, and then he just that crack right there is just like so humanizing. It's so funny.
My favorite line from him in the whole movie was when he's at what's her face? Hang on, I want to get her name.
Agatha or
No, the old lady at the beginning.
Tilda Swinton.
Tilda Swinton's character. Hell's bells. What?
Madam
Madam D.
something.
Madam D.
Okay.
Her name is ridiculously long, but he's standing at Madam D's wake, right? And he's regaling about how beautiful she is or whatever. And he says, "I don't know what sort of cream they've put on you at the morgue, but I want some." It's just so
You look
like,
great. You look alive.
just grabbing her hand and throwing it around.
I love in the background too. You have like
he changes the nails,
maid,
like he shits
going,
on her nails at the beginning, and then he's like, "Oh, thank God you changed this."
Yeah, they look
Physically
yeah.
appalling.
Yeah, it's
The
not that I
one-
don't like it.
Oh, that's what I was just about to say. The line I
sorry.
wrote down was, "It's not that I don't like it; it's that I'm physically repulsed."
Physically
I was like, my God.
Because it introduces itself as like he's trying to be nice, but no, he subverts that expectation
Yeah.
with, "No, I'm going to vomit looking at your fingernails." It's so funny.
God, the part two where he's like trying to get Zero to go do the fountain thing, and then he's like, "Wait, I haven't trained you." He's like, "Let's go." And he's like, "What about that?" He's like, "What? No." Like totally dismisses it. Like that's not a thing anymore. Don't worry about
It
that.
really that scene's cool because it sets up their relationship as like a protege kind of instructor kind of deal, and the best part of it is they play in with his name, like his experience, Zero.
Oh, yeah.
How much whatever Zero, which is his name. Elfie, shut up. And but when they're in the elevator,
Yes.
he says, "Why do you want to be a lobby boy?" And Zero answers, "Well, who wouldn't? At the Grand Budapest, sir? It's an institution." And Gustav just goes, "Very good."
Yes.
Like
so
that's
good.
all it took. Is that you believe in the hotel?
The recognition of the worth.
Because to
Yeah.
Gustav, the hotel is the most important thing.
Even whenever
but at the end, to Zero, it's the most important thing. Which is why even though nobody's there, and he's shitting on the new concierge, and he's in the crappy bathhouse, going, "Yeah, but what it used to be is why I love being here so much." And sits in. He's still. Everybody thinks he owns the hotel, but he still is in the servant quarters.
yeah,
So good.
which is
Because why? Because that's where Gustav was.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh,
I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, because the movie's so good.
It's so good.
Bill Murray, I expected him to have a larger role in this, probably because of Life Aquatic.
Yeah.
I just didn't know. And he is not a cameo. That's unfair, but almost. But he's so groovy. I want to talk about, though, if I may, I had a thing to say about Jeff Goldblum.
Oh.
In that,
What a nice surprise.
Yeah, he walks in and I just started
I love
giggling.
him in this. Yeah.
Right before the movie, I started to look at the cast and I saw where it said, I forget the person's name, but Young Zero.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, what if that just spoiled something? So the first part of the movie, I was like, oh, I shouldn't know that this is young him. Thankfully, it's like revealed right away. But I stopped looking at the cast. So Jeff Goldblum, all the like cameos at the end were all a surprise in the moment. It was great.
It's super cool.
Yeah.
I wrote down, and I think I've said this before in our Jurassic Park episode, but I wrote down, I'm convinced that Jeff Goldblum doesn't act. He just shows up and is. Like, he's just like, I'm here. You've asked for me. Like, he just, and by the way, I watched an interview during, actually, his Wicked press tour, because he is this will mean nothing to Nick, but
He's the wizard.
He's the Wizard of Oz.
Oh, spoilers.
Spoilers.
It's not really
for
that's
Wicked,
not a spoiler.
which Jesus Christ, we might have to watch Wizard of Oz in December. 'Cause
Never
it is
seen it.
shocking. It's like, to me, I hold Wizard of Oz on this exact same plane of importance as Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Yes.
They're both like
100%.
just absolutely crucial films to have watched. And this is
That
coming
makes
from
me
someone
excited to watch
who's
it.
this is coming from someone who's seen nothing except for what we've watched on this show, basically. But it is just it's so good.
What's
It's
even
a
crazier
pillar
is
of America.
I don't really know what happens,
which is
either.
awesome.
That is
However,
insane,
back to
but-
my point.
amazing.
Goldblum on the
How do
Wicked
you
press
manage
tour.
to dodge that?
He was asked about, weirdly, the glasses he wore in this movie. Those very round, small,
so good.
almost
Oh.
glasses that Carl could 100% pull off. And he said that basically he had to go to a glasses shop, and he was just texting Wes Anderson pictures of the glasses.
That's amazing.
And he got to the round ones, and Wes Anderson was like, "Oh, those are the ones." Like as Jeff Goldblum was recount, and he went. And after the movie ended, I took them because I bought them and they're mine.
Nice.
So he still has them. And on that
great.
point, and to Wes Anderson's particularities for this movie, the painting that is
Boy with Apple.
our MacGuffin for this movie, Boy with
Yeah.
Apple, not an actual historic painting,
Yeah.
rather a commissioned painting. Wes Anderson commissioned that from British artist Michael Taylor, who was kind of frustrated with the process because he had to work on a canvas smaller than what he was used to working on because it had to be used as a prop that had to be carried around. Normal canvases are quite enormously large. And then, he hadn't seen any of Wes Anderson's work, which liberated him a bit from the expectations. However, the collaborative element of working with a director and, we need to change this and that was a little bit frustrating, I read. The important thing about Boy with Apple is it was confirmed in 2021 by Wes Anderson, quote, "I have the picture and always will."
Aww.
So Boy with
got
Apple
Boy with
is
It
a
is
prized possession.
truly
of his.
priceless.
It is, Tim. So I friggin' love that. I love that. That's all I had to say about Boy with Apple, I think. The painting it was replaced with on the wall, I believe is called.
That's
I
insane.
I believe that painting is titled "Two Lesbians Masturbating." That was also commissioned for the film.
Also hanging right beside Boy with
Dimitri
Apple.
looks up and he's like, what is the meaning of this shit?
It's one of the best.
I don't know.
Because it's replaced an hour
So early
earlier,
on.
and he just noticed. Like you could
I
see
felt like
the
it was
dust.
days.
Yeah, right. And he's like, what's the meaning of this? This is so good. And all the women are like, I don't know.
God.
Man.
Goldblum's death was a bit sad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
that
also
one
very
softens
funny.
the more you watch it. The same with the cat death.
The cat was rough. Did we have to see a little
It
dead
was
cat
crazy
on the
that he
sidewalk?
checks them. He checks him and then he picks him back up.
He coat checks.
Coat checks his
the
dead cat.
in the bag. And then my favorite part of that scene, and I just wonder, it's one of those moments it was the one moment in this movie, and I often do this, at least with one moment in every movie I watch, where I go, I want to know how many takes that took. I want to know the different takes that happened, and I want to know why Wes Anderson picked that take. And it's this. It's when Jeff Goldblum is walking towards the museum that we end up doing the Scooby-Doo chase with him and Willem Dafoe before he gets his fingers slammed in the door and then stabbed to death.
I didn't like it.
Right? But he's walking up to the museum, and it's a very wide shot. He's walking down the street, and he's holding the bag like this, like almost shoulder width, with his elbow bent. And he walks nearly past the trash can and then quickly throws it away. And I'm like, why almost past it? How many different ways did he throw the dead cat away in the different edits of the movie where they landed on almost an afterthought of, oh shit, I'm still carrying the cat. Like, get rid of
Or
that.
was it the first take?
Or was it the first one? I doubt it. But it's just so perfectly Goldblum to me. I really enjoy it.
Because the cat would become a second problem. It's like, I'm being chased right now. Oh yeah, I can get rid of this. Like,
right.
Yeah, it would be second.
And
or
it's
afterthought.
the trash can is the only object in between, like that's along the footpath in between him and the museum. That's like 60 yards in the distance.
Yeah.
And it's not quite in the middle. It's probably 40% of the way there. It's just like you see the trash can and you go, he's going to throw the cat away. But then the way he does, he almost walks past it and then throws it away. And you're like, oh, he threw the cat away. Almost like I exhaled literally because it's just, I was anticipating it the whole way. And it would have almost been funnier to me in a way if he had walked past it and just kept the cat the whole time. But then he throws it away. So it subverted every expectation I had. And it stuck out to me. Something as flippant as throwing a dead cat in a trash can. But the way it was done, I was like, I love that. That's my stupid movie moment for this movie. I like how Jeff Goldblum threw that cat away. And I'd like to talk to him about it. Jeff, email us at thebigroompod@gmail.com.
Imagine.
Jeff Goldblum and Wes Anderson feel like the perfect combination. Like just at least him personally, like his personality, I think just
The
fits
eclecticness.
That's exactly.
Have you
it.
watched The World According to Jeff Goldblum on Disney Plus?
No.
I will say it's not the best show of all time. But if you want to watch Jeff Goldblum go, about like ice cream.
Everything.
Wait, is that where he judges a tattoo competition?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I watched like one episode.
A Jeff Goldblum tattoo competition.
That's right.
Oh, wow.
I think I did watch a little bit
Which
of that.
sign me up. I'll get him right here. That'd be awesome. You want to look at Jeff Goldblum on my thigh forever?
Not really. I mean, I don't see you that often.
That's too
so.
damn bad!
I'm tired, Grandpa. I'm tired of this digging.
Well, Judas River.
There's a zero in that movie.
Oh,
really?
connected. Everything is holes.
I really like the quote when they're about to escape from the prison, and the guy's like, "We think you're a really straight fella," and he's like, "Well, no one's accused me of that before."
Yeah.
Right, because he's very overtly bisexual throughout the film, which is cool. I have another Jeff Goldblum moment when he's talking about like first they went to the alley and then the servant stairs, and he's got all the pictures for all the scenes. Like it's just funny. He's like doing them like flashcards, just cracking me up. Because
There's a
instead
lot
of
of fourth wall breaking too. There's a lot of staring directly like down the barrel of the camera.
right, and it's just cool that scene because instead of them like directly showing us the flashbacks, they just did it with cart. It's just so funny. It's not what you would think. I have other quotes. I think you made a lip smack noise. What do you got to say? Don't do that. Everyone just shot themselves or crashed their cars on purpose because you did that.
I just wanted to talk about Tony Revolori, who played Zero. This was his first ever movie,
Really?
No kidding.
which is insane because he does a really great job.
Yeah.
He's a very appropriate straight man throughout the film.
Yeah.
But like a straight man that kind of just goes along with it. You know, he's pretty much. But the dude that rejects it seemingly is going to reject him, Gustav, at the very beginning through the whole training process. Like first he gives him all the instructions about the coin and light the candle and blah blah blah, and then it's like, wait a minute, who hired you? And then they have that impromptu interview, but he says that right line we mentioned earlier, and then he's like, "You're with me," and he automatically follows Gustav everywhere. And it's so... I can't believe that's his first movie.
Yeah.
I kind of thought he would have been
crazy.
a child actor for 10 years before this or something.
Nope.
That's very
Because
cool.
he's the Flash Gordon in the new Spider-Man, right?
Yep.
Yes.
And then what else is he in?
I don't
I don't know.
What's that?
I just know Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's the only thing I know him from.
Spider-Man.
Okay.
Still a great resume. Either way.
So, Carl, I want to know if you in particular picked this moment out because I thought it was. I actually had Danielle rewind it so we could watch it twice. It was the one scene we did that with, and it's when Willem Dafoe's character is going to the ski resort,
Oh yeah.
right? And he gets off like the bus or whatever up there, and there's a kid kind of standing outside of the resort, and he goes, "Where are you headed, mister? Skiing, sledding, mountain climbing?" And he's standing right next to a sign that has skiing, sledding, and mountain climbing all in that order.
I did not pick up on that.
And it's such a funny just bit of like it's like he's selling the resort to him. It's so weird. Or as if he just read the sign and is like, "What are you here for, idiot? Why are you standing here skiing, sledding, mountain climbing?" It's so funny. That's so fun. That's one of my favorite like visual gags in the film. Man, I got this really strong desire to watch more Wes Anderson.
Yeah, I did too. I'd be like, I'd give more of these a try.
It feels like
Another one that's kind of this. No, I don't know if it's like. It's more of a palatable one, I think, is Darjeeling Limited. It's a train movie too with Owen Wilson, Adrian Brody, and Jason Schwartzman, his brothers, on like a spiritual journey. Life Aquatic is amazing. There's a lot more Goldblum in that one.
I want to watch Life Aquatic really bad. I watched
On all the lists I looked at, Life Aquatic was towards the bottom of the list.
I've seen the same.
which I think is interesting because
It might
Carl
be polarizing. I don't know. I mean, I like it because it's a lot of Bill Murray and it's just a ridiculous movie.
You watched Asteroid City.
I did.
Did you like it?
No.
Why didn't you like it?
I just
Palatable disappointment.
Yeah.
Carl, you've seen it?
I haven't seen it. I
Okay.
haven't seen that one or The French Dispatch, so I'm
Okay,
behind.
so
that one.
tell us what was it
It
about
was-
loosely?
Oof, it's about a little. It's been a minute. It's a little
cry-
town near Area 51, and there's like a UFO crash. So I almost feel like it was the opposite of Grand Budapest, where it was very slow, and like my friend Caitlin and I kept waiting for like something to happen, and like
'Cause she's a big Wes Anderson.
nothing would happen. Yes, I think so.
Because she seemed stoked
She's
for
seen
it.
several. Yeah, we
Was
were.
she bummed out too?
Yeah, we
Oh.
we didn't finish it. We turned it off. We were kind of like, do we care? And we were like, no.
Wow.
I know.
That's
It might
kind
have
of
also
a-
gotten late at night,
Yeah.
so it might have been also a tired decision because
Y'all get sleepy.
she's a mom. She gets sleepy. But yeah, I don't know.
What's
I just
your
kept.
excuse?
I'm a pushover and I do whatever she tells me to do.
Well, you get sleepy too. It's more
I do get sleepy.
You're busy as hell though. You're like the busy person I know.
Yeah, it's fun time. I don't know. I just kept waiting for like the shoe to drop of like, oh, this is the thing, and just nothing happened.
Huh.
So
For some reason, this is wrong and bad. That movie and Don't Look Up are like the same in my brain because I think they both came out around the same time. and
Don't
they were
Look Up
both
was
marketed similarly.
fine.
Wasn't
Did
that a
you watch
climate
it?
change metaphor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did any of you guys watch it?
No.
I did, yeah.
That was okay.
I don't
was
need a
pretty good.
climate change metaphor in my life. I'm
we have
I'm
enough.
fully aware of the impending doom we're marching straight towards with our eyes closed. But no, I felt a similar draw to Wes Anderson's catalog that I felt to Tarantino's catalog after watching Pulp Fiction. However, arguably a stronger draw because A, I know I'm not in for a violent hellscape, and B, I like the artsy fartsiness. You know, like you go to Tarantino, I think for the story, and Wes Anderson, I'm
violence.
more interested in more modern art paintings in movie form. You know what I mean? Like it's just so. I like the fact that I didn't get pulled in because I find that wearisome on a degree. In
It wasn't
films.
heavy like a
It's not heavy.
Lord of the Rings or Godfather.
Or a Knives Out,
Even,
not
yeah.
that Knives Out's heavy,
But, like-
as far as mysteries goes, like
It takes itself more seriously.
the
though.
plot of the Grand Budapest Hotel is like the third most important thing going on.
Yeah.
It's the characters,
Yeah.
it's the dialogue, it's the way the movie's shot, and then it's like the plus. It's like the fourth most important thing.
It is crazy.
it's
There's
really-
a lot happening. There's an art heist. There's a murder. There's a jail escape. Like, there's a lot going on.
Oh, the jail escape.
But
when
yeah,
the-
it all
when they're-
kind of
when-
takes backseat
the jail
to the
escape
style of it.
was so very Scooby-Doo-ish to me because they do things in that jail escape that are so dumb. For example, one of the inmates goes down the dumbwaiter to get the key. They all could have gone down the dumbwaiter if one of them went down. They just go in a line, you know what I mean? And for example, right after they come, he unlocks the door after he goes down the dumbwaiter and lets them all out. They all go to the left of the screen. like stage right. And then the guy that unlocks the door picks up the ladder, and they all then go to the right of the screen, all carrying parts of the ladder. Like, why not just pick it up and like hand it down? But the best part is when they open that hatch and it's the guards like playing cards down there, and the one dude goes down with the throat slasher, kills everybody but one, and then they both stab each other, and the line is, I think we can consider that a draw. It's like, no, he killed like 6 dudes. It's not definitely not a draw. That guy won.
Harder.
That was just such a funny, like very like 60s cartoon
Well,
segment.
you think they're gonna get caught when they run across the room of guards.
Yeah, right.
But then they make it, and then all of a sudden they open the hatch.
Everything about
There's the
that
guards.
is very silly. Like the little cakes, and they get the digging tools, but they're all tiny. Like little pickaxes.
When they're on the like bars of the outside of the jail and they're just chipping away at the bars.
Yeah. And then,
All right, that
but then they
worked.
neatly take it out in one piece.
Yeah.
It's just so everything about that is so ridiculous, but it works.
I think this might be a little convenient, but I think that all just kind of, I think I'm okay with that because they kind of explain everything as this is a memory or like a retelling. Like you're not seeing actual reality the way it happened.
Yeah.
And that's a little convenient.
Yeah, because Zero wasn't there also, so he's only getting a story of a story now.
Exactly.
Oh, that's true.
It's,
That's true.
It's full of unreliable narrators, which
Yeah.
I think is or unreliable narration, I should say, because we have a consistent narrator throughout the film. It's Old Man Zero, but then again, it isn't because it's Jude Law's character, the author, in older form. Very interesting movie.
Yeah.
We should move on though, and wrap things up, and then do Hitman or Miss. Any final thoughts or comments about the Grand Budapest Hotel?
Something I thought while watching this movie was with Wes Anderson, I feel like you don't really get a lot of why. You're just supposed to accept whatever's happening.
Yeah.
Like, you don't really get any. You do get some, but it's just kind of like you move from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing to thing to thing, to thing and
Yeah.
you're just
It's kind of
just
like a just
accept
go with
it.
it.
It doesn't matter
what-
that this is chaotic and crazy. Just go with it.
What do you think makes you want to do that about it? What makes you
Know the
accept-
why?
Yeah.
Or
no,
that you
what-
just accept it?
Yeah. Why do
Ooh.
what about the movie though? Is it the artistic element of it? Is it the act?
I think
is
so.
the acting?
I think it's everything contributing. I think it's the artistic element. And I think the actors, they're all bought in. So you just believe that that is the world that you're in.
I mean, Ralph Fiennes is a hero in this movie. He is like by far and away the
Who is
star for me. He's Gustav,
Oh,
our main kind of character. His
Ooh, you
performance
should watch
is
Hail Caesar. He's in that too, and it's very good. That's
does-
Coen Brothers.
Coen Brothers. Oh, see, I'm in. I like the Coen Brothers too.
It's a great movie.
I would watch that.
I'll hate it.
there'll probably be 30 cats in it.
Ralph Fiennes kind of steals the show of this film. He really,
Well, I think he's our main guy, though, right?
but exactly, he's a very good main
Yes.
character, he, or lead actor, I should say. He crushes his performance.
I don't think we've talked about this, but real quick, there's different aspect ratios throughout the movie.
Yeah, I
to talk
noticed.
about
I
kind of
stopped Danielle at one
encapsulate.
point, and I went, "Are we in 4:3 right now?" And but that's the only one I noticed. I really didn't notice it switch back and forth.
I think there were 3. I think there were, and there's the modern time one where she's reading the book at the author's like shrine or whatever, and then it goes
Yeah.
to like the 70s and the 30s. I think there was 3 different ones, and I think I heard too that he was the first person to establish that as like a motif that you could use as a device.
And it's
I don't know if that's
true
true,
to the time frame,
Yeah,
like the time period.
that's super interesting. Yeah, I noticed
Yeah.
that it switched to 4:3 at one point because I was on the floor looking up at the
Yeah,
television
you're
like a
like,
6-year-old, and I was like, "Why are there black bars?" Thank God the TV's so big, But yeah, what a hell of a movie.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the piss out of it. So
was a
with
wild
that,
ride.
I'll give it a hit because I thought it was fantastic, and I want to watch a million more Wes Anderson movies. And Carl should have made us wait 94 episodes to watch one. I'm kidding.
We weren't ready.
We weren't
were
ready.
primed,
We
yeah,
had
you were
to-
primed with the other movies.
Nick,
Absolute hit.
absolute hit.
Ooh.
Absolute hit.
Firm
I
hit. Firmly grasp it.
He doesn't get
this
it.
is the first time. No, I don't. First time where I felt disconnected from a movie, and that was a good thing.
Yeah.
Like you sit and you observe, and then
So you kind of felt what I was feeling.
yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
I like that. Cool. It's good to not be alone. Carl, we'll end with Danielle because I think that's
All
going to
right.
be the most
Well, it's an
interesting.
obvious hit for me, and I'm just thrilled that you guys liked it. I want you guys to watch more.
Are you relieved?
Yeah, because it's for a long time I was like, it was between Royal Tenenbaums, Darjeeling Limited, or this one, and I was like trying to figure out. I was like,
Well, now I
well,
wanna
looking
watch
at
those
like
other
the
two.
themes in this one, I was like, this kind of parallels so much of the other stuff we watched. It's like, I think they're ready for it. I think they're ready.
I want to watch.
I'm
those
glad you
now.
guys liked
It's
it.
So good. All right, Miss Ma'am, what do you think about it?
What do I think?
Now I'm scared.
No, I want to give it a hit. Like you guys, I mean, you guys have already said it all. It was really well done. It was a really cool viewing experience. It made me want to watch more Wes Anderson.
Nice.
I feel like it was a good first, like,
He
Asteroids.
picked well.
Like, Asteroids Today, I count, but I didn't really like it. So I'm going to just say this was my good first one
Yeah.
to watch.
Nice.
Mr. Fox next. Kidding.
You
Mr.
know,
Fox was good.
it pulled me in. Like, you guys were saying it kind of like you weren't a part of the movie, but it's still like I was intrigued. I wanted to watch and finish and, like, see what was happening.
Yeah, he cues it up with like the obvious artifice of it. Like it's so constructed that like you kind of, like you were saying earlier, you kind of just go with it. Like you already see that it's not real, so you kind of can just take what happens after that. Like it's really preps you for it.
All right. Well, what a good ass movie. A concise hit.
Yep.
if you will. I'll give that an air horn.
Nice.
Yay.
Yay.
Big Room certified banger. if you will.
Banger.
I'm repulsed by that word now.
Banger.
I don't like it.
I thought you were going to say, I barely know her.
Oh, banger. You brought her. All right. 20 questions?
Yes.
20Q.
Danielle, are you ready for 20 questions?
Yes.
Because it's your turn. We didn't do 20 questions last week because you weren't
I
here.
wasn't here. It's
And
my
we
turn.
couldn't be bothered to pick someone else to do it.
I have picked a movie. I'm starting to get nervous that like we've already picked them.
No, that's fine. I was actually going to do a movie we've already done, like to throw everybody off as a bit, but I'm not going to do that now because I just said it. So,
I have my movie selected, if
All
you
right.
will.
right.
I almost pulled up the list, but I don't
Was
need the
it
list.
this year or last year?
Last year.
Okay. Let's all
Okay.
scroll back to.
Old
Was
2023.
it a comedy?
No,
When the hell did we? All right, there it is. Not a comedy.
not a comedy.
Before or after, or rather, I'll give you a yes or no. Was it before our birth year of 1995?
Yes.
Okay.
It's before.
90.
Before 1995. Is it a part of a franchise or a larger?
No.
Okay.
Is it considered like a pillar of cinema? Would you call it important? I'll say.
Yes.
Okay, it's important.
It's important.
Did we already ask if it was a drama?
No.
No.
Okay. Is it a
Would
drama?
you like to ask that?
Oh, you made that 2 questions.
All right, 2 questions.
No.
I mean,
Is it a drama?
No.
Is it in black and white?
No.
Okay.
It's not a drama, not a comedy.
Have we seen this director again?
No.
Do we like it?
Yes.
We liked it. It's not West Side Story.
Most of us liked it.
Is it a musical?
Is it
Go one at a time. Is it a musical?
Yes.
Is it Singing in the Rain?
It is singing.
Hey, is that a perfect 10?
I guessed the last
He
one.
guessed on 11.
Okay, so
So
yeah.
it took 10 questions to
I
have a
like
movie
it.
guess.
Well, there you go. That's better than what I did last. We got like friggin' 2 when I was ass. I don't even remember what I
I was
picked.
afraid that was going to be too
Jurassic
easy.
Park. Yeah, 'cause
Jurassic
I got it with the trilogy question. I was like, oh
That's
shit.
it.
I was literally looking
Don't say,
at the
oh shit,
thumbnail.
that's an excellent question. You won the bloody game.
Carl stumped us the most, right? With
Yeah.
I can't remember which one
and
was
we
it.
brought it up, Fast and the Furious.
Oh
I think.
yeah.
And we
Yeah.
even talked about it.
That
and
took
then
us
it's so-
forever. It was like
I
16
cannot
or
believe
17.
of all the references, it was Sandwich Crazy. I was like, God, do I need to switch real quick? What are the odds of that?
Oh, man.
What is this guy, Sandwich Crazy? That's an insane movie.
The movie's so
Yeah.
crazy.
That is an insane movie. We should watch another one of those next year. All right.
Another
so
year of movies.
This is the part of the show where Danielle's watched Wicked, and we're going to let her talk about it a little bit so that she doesn't
Nice.
explode. So you got to see it early. You saw it on Monday, which
I saw it on Monday.
was the 18th of November
Yeah.
for those listening,
Yeah.
which is quite early because
It was.
we're Amazon Prime members, and for some reason that got you into the theater like 5 days early.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
Listen, I'm not going to question it because I was very upset because I wasn't going to be able to see this movie until like Saturday, 3 days after it came out. That was crazy.
Elfie's instigating.
Hey!
Elfie is smacking Phoebe on the back, and she is pissed about it.
Yeah, our dogs are fighting.
Can you pick her up? Just get her out of this insane poop-eating animal's grasp.
She just growled. Very
She's furious.
I feel like she's gonna
Elfie had her
Mufasa.
full weight on Phoebe's back, and Phoebe just full snarled her mustache. She was like, I will kill you with a gun.
That was
Like,
crazy.
hey, are you grumpy? All right, go on.
Grumpy Girls. Anyways, I wasn't going to be able to see this until days after it came out, and I was very mad. But my friend Maggie came in clutch and found this Amazon Prime showing, which they did, across the country. So it was a full theater experience. Everybody was there. Everybody was in their pink and their green.
I have a question.
They had the popcorn buckets. What's your question?
Were there any singing theater kids being annoying?
No.
Thank God.
Not that I could, if there was singing, I couldn't hear it. The only person I heard, Maggie and I a couple times did a little,
You didn't hear it because it was you.
No, it was like, we said like 3 words.
Yeah. I actually read
we were not
something.
singing along.
One of the giant theater companies in the US, I don't remember which one, put out like an all points bulletin. Like, don't sing. Stay in your seat. Keep your phone away. This is not the Eras tour. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we have events where we encourage this behavior. This is not one of them. Shut up and watch the movie.
Which
but, like, nicer.
I wasn't worried about it because I feel like the people that were going 5 days earlier are like, I need to see this movie.
Yeah,
I
true.
want to experience this movie. This is a
But my fear
thing.
would be that those are the weird kids
That would then
that
sing?
would be like trying to harmonize with that one
You're
vocal
right.
riff. You know,
You're right. They can't
right?
because she's fantastic.
Yeah.
She's a god. It's fine. Anyways, I teared up within the first 5 minutes because I was just so happy.
They were like
because
singing "She's Dead," and you're like,
I was like, well, I was just like, this is like ours now. Like it's been like it's been like you have to pay hundreds of dollars to
And
go
I
to the
did.
theater to see it, and now it's a movie that like once it comes out, we can just have. I was like, this is now like accessible to everybody, and
I
it just
think
made
it
me so
was-
happy.
I think it was February of 2017. We were at 38th. All 3 of us were at 38th, right? And we had just moved to the center row where Carl just joined the advertising row. So it's it's around the time when you dropped that like Pantone swatch and had a stroke.
God.
He literally like he had the screw out so he could like take sheets of it out, and he dropped it on the floor and he scooted back and just walked away. And then me and Dan and David were like, okay, which row? They're numbered. Can we get him back so he doesn't kill himself? It was so funny. But around that time, it was her birthday. It was February. And I'm like, I don't know. We were dating at the time. I don't even think we might have been
We
engaged.
were just engaged.
And I'm like, I don't know what the hell to get her for her birthday, which is in a couple days. Like I've waited way too long. And I got an ad online for Wicked at the Straws in Tampa. And I was like, perfect. And it was like, what, 2 weeks after your birthday or something?
Yeah.
Like, it was way too late to be buying tickets, which meant that I paid $600 after fees to see Wicked.
Those fees will get you.
We were in like row G though. Like we were
so close.
And on the right side. And I'll tell you, I don't remember a damn thing about that music. I remember that the ending pisses me off.
He was all in, and I was so happy until the ending.
The last thing that happens, and I was like, boo! I was bummed out. It was bad. But hey, I recognize I'm in the minority. I just
Whatever.
don't like it when you have things that change the source material to give overtly happy endings. That's my stance, and I refuse to be crucified for it. But good movie. I've seen like 93% on like Rotten Tomatoes or IMDb or whatever, with like 99 critic reviews. Like everybody loves this movie.
It was like as a huge fan of the musical. I've been a fan of the musical since 2000.
You saw it on Broadway.
I saw it on Broadway in 2011, and I've been obsessed ever since. I have a Defy tattoo. I'm a nerd. It was perfect.
Defy Gravity.
Defy Gravity.
Defying Gravity. It's like that's one of the songs.
It's the song. It's the song. She's in her power, in her own.
Yeah.
She's defying gravity. But like every little detail that they added into the movie felt like thought out and purposeful. It wasn't like, we're not just trying to fill time. We're adding this detail because it's going to then further enrich the story and her character. Like they just took such good care of it. And you could just tell that everybody involved like loves that material and wanted to do a great job. And I mean, the performances were amazing. The vocals were amazing. The world building was amazing. It was just amazing.
But how's Goldblum in it?
He was also amazing.
That's
Yeah.
right.
I mean, and he was also just, Elphaba, is that
course,
you?
right.
Oh, I didn't know you were here. So, I mean, he was just being
You
himself.
said that, you said a lot of it was practical as well. I peeked over while I was drinking and tearing my computer apart at the kitchen counter last night, like way too close to wet dishes. I was just living on the edge. And I looked over and there's a scene where Elphaba is doing a little bit of a fly in a field. Like she's like the actress is on wires in a field, like flying through the air. And they're just in a field and they had blue screens up to block out like the skyline of the city they were nearby. Like it seems like they did all this much practical, like kind of how like Denis did the Dune in Dune Part 2 when Paul goes to ride the sandworm. That sand dune, they built that for the movie. So when the sand falls away, they rigged that up. Like they had a chance to do it. And so they did many things practical, which is why Dune was so cheap, like 4 times cheaper than Last Jedi. Which is wild to think about. But Wicked, also very practical.
Yeah.
Like they painted her ass green. That's not in post. She's green.
Huh.
So
And
how many
she-
hours did you say she had to sit for makeup?
It depended on how much was having to be green for the day, but like if it was just like face and like hands, it was like 2.5 to 3 hours.
Just for face and hands.
Oh,
But
wow.
for her, like if they had to do like more of her body, it was like
shoulders.
4 hours. Before you even step on set, you're having to spend 4 hours getting prosthetic ears because she has so many ear piercings.
Like a shitload.
So
like she's got like
many
a
ear
dozen
piercings.
ear piercings in each ear. It's crazy.
But just I don't know. She was just a perfect Elphaba to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. Glinda's amazing because she's your comedic relief and like you love her and she has all the fun songs. But Elphaba's the heart of that show
Isn't
to
Glinda
me.
though? Doesn't she have a bit of a dick, isn't she, moment in the music? I don't remember it fully.
A little bit. I mean, she kind of chooses a side. I mean,
Don't they get like I remember her like gassing the Elphaba character up a bit, but under false pretenses. Like, oh, wear this ugly ass hat that I hate because you'll look good in it. Like,
but
that kind of deal.
then, yes, no, she does do that. Well, that's how they start out. They start out as enemies, and then she gives her the hat as like a trick. And then once she sees Elphaba being humiliated, she kind of then has her face turned
Okay.
of like, oh, I've gone too far. Like
Okay.
she doesn't deserve this, so let me now reach to her, and then they become friends.
Yeah, it's been 7 years since I've seen the musical again. I don't
So,
remember.
and also that scene in the movie it was really emotional to see that, like, up close, the
I was
emotions.
gonna say, I
like-
imagine because you don't have to look at it from a stage. From
Yeah.
as close as we were, we're still a good 60 feet
Yeah.
from the stage.
So to see all the emotions of everything play out that close was just really.
What do you
also
anticipate
touching.
from part 2? Because it's more than halfway through the play where this ends. Yeah,
Yeah, it
because
ends.
it ends with
at the-
Oh.
Defying Gravity.
It ends where the intermission of the stage musical
Right.
is.
Huh.
So, which is at Defying Gravity.
Did they like advertise it as?
They did and didn't. A lot of people are confused, but I feel like if you read or paid attention at all, you would know.
Didn't you say, for example, that didn't you say there were scenes in the trailers that are from the second
Yes,
part?
yes.
And for example,
Oh, shoot.
isn't that vocal riff that's in everything a part of Defying Gravity?
Yes.
Which then okay, we're probably going to end here, but they're a little tricksy with the part 2 scenes. And then I've seen some kind of tinfoil hatting going on about are they going to kind of interject Wizard of Oz-ness into part 2?
I'd be perfectly fine with that.
Okay.
I like honestly like give me as much.
It's very ancillary.
Give me as much Wicked as you want because
It's-
I'll take it all.
They don't really the crossover between Wicked and Wizard of Oz, from what I remember, is very
It's
minimal.
very minimal.
Very minimal. Like there's some at the end, like the very end, which is why it pissed me off a little bit. It's a bit revisionary, but like Elphaba, which is who Elfie's named after, by the way.
Yeah.
Is in the Wizard of Oz. She's the Wicked Witch of the West. So she's the antagonist. False antagonist? Because the wizard's kind of... I don't want to say too much because Nick hasn't seen it.
Well,
The wizard's...
Wicked.
Wicked changes... it changes quite a bit of
In the Wizard of
tone
Oz, the
Wizard
Wicked Witch of the West is the villain.
Yeah.
In Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
We'll just leave it at
It's-
that.
Oz is more of like a... Not who you think he is kind of deal.
Yeah.
But Wicked changes
Wicked
a lot of.
dials that up.
It does dial it up,
but-
and it subverts a lot of expectations for characters from The Wizard of Oz. All that to say, you have to watch The Wizard of Oz first.
Yeah.
But Wicked is.
It's a moment.
It's different, and it's a moment.
It's a
for
moment.
Sure. I mean, it's been like the pro shot they shot how many years ago?
I mean, it came out
Which
on
is where pro shots are where they professionally record the Broadway stage production. So like the Hamilton
okay.
on Disney Plus was a pro shot. We didn't think we were probably ever going to see that because
Yeah.
of what they did for Wicked. They probably filmed that 20
they
years ago.
film every Broadway show, but they don't release them. Like only certain, like there is a different. They film everything for like posterity's sake, but not everything gets like a theatrical recording.
So when Hamilton
costs
came
a
out,
lot
They
of
film
money.
it every night.
no,
No.
they'll film.
They
it
just
every
do like
couple
one
nights.
original Broadway cast
Okay.
recording of the
I was
show.
like, that's a lot. Why would they and then not use it for anything? Just have a bunch of footage.
I remember
What
it
is that
being
for?
I remember it being a big ass deal when Hamilton came out as
Mm-hmm.
quick as it did because it kind of like they threw that out during COVID.
Is there a Wicked?
Yeah,
thing you can
there's a
watch?
Wicked pro shot, but you cannot watch it. They have not released it. We
It's
know,
not a pro shot in the sense of like what Hamilton did, where it was done theatrically. It was just kind of more like this is a recording.
like a static
of-
camera.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they'll ever do that for it. I mean, I would love it. Like I
Because
said,
the
give
original,
me everything.
The original Alphabet was who?
Idina Menzel.
Yeah.
What's the most amount of money you'd pay to watch that?
$500.
Pro shot?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I don't know if it's a.
No. Let's say that somebody was like came up to our house, knocked on our door with a trench coat. It did that. and they had
Like
a
of the
TV.
original cast?
Yeah. The Broadway pro shot.
Of
And
the
they were
night you were there.
No. Because she didn't see the.
I didn't
original
see the
cast.
original cast.
Never mind.
So we're
Never mind.
talking original cast. Idina Menzel as Elphaba, and they're like, "I've got the pro shot. How much would you pay for that?"
I don't know.
What?
I don't know.
Interesting.
Not a ridiculous amount.
$1,000
No.
because you have bootlegs.
Because that's the thing. So
Pause
this is
got me scared for a second.
I've watched. So whenever I watch see it in the theater, I hyperfixate. So when we saw it in 2017, I then found bootlegs and just was watching them. Like
She
So you
has,
pay nothing because you got it for free.
Well, yeah, but they're probably
I-
a bit shit.
they're shit, but it is what it is. It was the only thing you could do until now.
Yeah.
So
Does it scratch the itch, or does part of you still want the pro shot,
That's so funny.
or is the movie good?
oh, I would still take. I mean, the
There you
movie
go.
helps, but I would still
Yeah,
take it for a shot.
right.
But also, like the original Broadway cast, while amazing, obviously, I love the Elphabas I've seen more.
Who are the
Jessica
Elphas you've seen?
Voss.
That's the one you and I saw.
Yes,
Jessica Voss. Okay.
she's a queen. I love her.
Would I know her from anything else?
No,
Okay.
she's a Broadway. She doesn't do any like mainstream stuff.
Okay.
She's like a,
Idina Menzel's in Frozen,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Which
yeah,
one
yeah.
is she? Elsa.
Elsa.
She's Elsa in Frozen. So let it go.
So.
She was the first Elphaba.
But and then the Elphaba I saw on Broadway, her name's Jennifer Denoya, and she did it for like 10 years, which is like insane because that show will ruin your voice.
How long did Jessica Voss do it?
She did tour for like a year, and then she transferred to Broadway and was on Broadway for another year.
So we saw her in that year. Well, shit. Good job, me.
She's a big deal in the theater community. I love her.
In the biz.
In the biz.
Well, that's
Anyways,
about enough.
thanks
of
for
that.
letting me wax poetic.
I can't wait to watch Wizard of Oz and then Wicked and then be able to.
Carl,
Understand
I
everything
will
you just
say,
said.
I feel like as far as musicals go, it doesn't drag in the way that like West Side Story, where like,
Oh my god, that just is the shittiest thing I've ever seen. It's
or
so
even
bad.
like Singing in the Rain, where the songs feel like they drag a little bit. This is much more modern, where you're singing, then we're done. We're singing, then we're done. Like,
Is it
we're,
more like Hamilton?
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
It just, I don't
But
know.
you liked Hamilton.
How close is it to La La Land?
Oh, the La La Land's got a lot of non.
Because that's the
it's-
most modern musical that I did like.
But that has a
I can
lot
think of.
more non-singing than,
It's-
Right,
than
yeah.
Wicked has. Wicked is definitely a musical.
Yeah.
La La Land's a musical movie.
Yeah, La La Land is, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I would put them in
Yeah.
different categories.
La La Land's movie first.
Like, did you see like Greatest Showman?
Showman.
I don't know
one
why
has
I said
ever-
it that way.
Have you seen The Greatest Showman?
I don't know why I said it that way. Or like,
Have you seen Greatest Showman?
no.
Slaps. It's a good
It's
movie.
a good one.
It's a good one. Hugh Jackman.
it's a lot
Jackman.
more similar to that, or like the Chicago movie musical, or the Hairspray which none of you guys have seen.
I've seen Hairspray.
I love Hairspray.
Is that the one where John Travolta's a woman?
Yes.
It's worth watching just for that.
It's fun. Maybe we can watch it next year.
Oh, Jesus. I'm already... That's just... That thought makes me tired. But I would do it. I made y'all watch Smokey and the Bandit. We can watch Hairspray. All right. Well, let's wind this down. Here's the problem. Do we know what we're watching next week? I don't think we decided.
I don't think we did.
So another episode, we're gonna leave the audience on pins and needles, wondering what the hell we're gonna watch next week. But hey, you know what? Suck it. There will be a winter theme. We're going into December. We know that we have at least 2, if not 3, Christmas movies on the docket, and all of them are classics.
Yes.
Whether that be classics or like classics from our childhood, one of which I haven't seen. And then perhaps 1 or 2 non-movies once again.
Oh.
So, although one of them might be pushed to January, we have to talk about it literally after we stop recording if we have time. I know she has to pack and she's leaving me this weekend.
I'm leaving you.
Which is why I'm going to make chili and like just drink beer for the next couple of days. It's going to be lit. Put the hashtag time in for Call of Duty. Hit me up, boys. So, yeah, December. The holidays approach.
Oh, my gosh.
You're going to take a week off in December as well. So there's technically 5 release days in December, and we are not going to release in the week between Christmas and New Year's, I believe, right? Yeah, so. But we'll be back in the new year
break.
with our recap. So there you go. We're going to take a little break because we deserve it.
We deserve it.
We try not to take really any weeks off. I don't know if we took a single... No, we did take 1 week off when we were in San Francisco, but
yeah,
that's really it.
And
year.
Maine.
Me and Carl would have been here, but
Yeah.
Could have just left you the key
Nick
to the
just
house.
comes in, turns my computer on. And
I can't imagine just you and Carl. That would be wild.
Still
I'd
just
be
sits in the same
afraid.
chair with 2 empty ones.
there's
did you see the logo?
Oh man, yeah.
There's a lot of
That
dead,
type choice.
a lot of dead silence and raspberries. Just like, how do they keep going? Even when, if you listen to the last episode, the first 2 minutes or so, you can feel the void of missing the 4th person, where we're like, how do we do this? And then we kind of get into it. It's funny.
Thank you, Alfie.
Yeah, she almost knocked that water over trying to get into her bed that I bought for her. That's way too small. Hilarious. Well, great. Talking about a podcast that's something that nobody can see. So, thanks for listening. Join us on Discord, where we talk about how I had a Baconator with no bacon on it today. And the New York Times game strike is over. So we're back playing Wordle and Connections.
Yeah.
And sometimes Nick plays the mini when he's not embarrassed about his time. Actually, that's more of a Carl bet. Weird how there was no mini today. And yeah. I had the best time today. I kicked David's ass today. It made me feel good. He was dumb as hell today. 2.5 minutes for that easy ass puzzle. Idiot. Nah, he's like 28 seconds most every day, and I'm like minute and a half, and it makes me feel stupid. So
I just mistype so often.
Yeah,
Like I do typos, and that throws me off. And I'm like, I wish it was like a game show where I could just call out the word, and whoever does all the
Yeah.
automation would just do it for me.
It's like Family Feud. All right.
yeah.
Anyway, we're gonna watch some friggin' Christmas movie maybe next week, and we'll
see.
be back.
Yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving,
will.
I think.
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah. A few days before.
Around that. So enjoy that.
Eat some foods.
Eat some mashed potatoes. Watch some football. Go Packers, and we'll catch you in the next one.